Hello, my name is Nicole, and let me tell you about my project. My project is called Doesn't It Sound Amazing? In this project, I tested between classical and lo-fi music to figure out which genre of music is best to study to. This title represents the music and asking the question, doesn't this genre of music sound amazing? Why did I choose this project? Well, during my last year's school science fair, I listened to a lot of genres of music while working. I ended up liking classical music and lo-fi music the best. Instead of having a pondering question, I decided to figure out which genre of music is the best to study to, and to figure out if different variables, like growing up in a loud household, would affect the participants' overall response to the test and the music. The purpose of this experiment was to figure out if classical music, lo-fi music, and no music would affect someone's level of concentration with a work or a test, and to figure out which music genre is the fastest and the most accurate to study to. In this experiment, I would have graded participants take two tests, math and English comprehension. For one session, they would start with no music and they would take the test. I would time them and I would grade their test. For the second session, I would have them do the same thing, but this time make them listen to classical music while taking the test. And for the third session, it would be lo-fi music. In the end, I would add up all the grades and times and average it out to figure out which music was most compatible for the participant. For these tests, all of these tests were done online due to COVID and not being able to actually see the participants. So I would have them do it on a Zoom call and they would print out these tests and do it in front of me. Now, let me tell you about my results. The results for the graded girls and boys together might look as you might expect it to be, with no music at the top with the highest grade and fastest time. But the classical music and lo-fi music were tied with 1% difference, making lo-fi in the lead. But the average time showed that the participants took less time to complete the test while classical music was playing. I think these results are shown because we are used to taking tests at school with no music. And while my participants were taking the tests, they seemed like they were distracted by the music. But you might be asking yourself, why do I need to know this information? Well, next time you're studying, you can experiment with yourself and play different genres of music. And the genre you feel the most comfortable with is the genre you're most compatible with. So next time while you're studying, you can make it a little bit more fun. Now, due to COVID, these experiments were extremely hard to complete because my region went down on lockdown after the Christmas break, and all my tests would have been done online. But the most difficult part of my experiment was to figure out which age group should I experiment on. This was a difficulty because how older or younger participants were, the more variables would have been added. Like, for example, older participants may or may not have studied with music back then, because now we have lots of streaming platforms like Spotify or SoundCloud, but they might have not had that back then. So the results would have been all over the place. So I narrowed it down to grade 8s because I can relate to them and they're younger. So they're used to Spotify and they're used to studying with music. If I had to continue this project, I would definitely use more genres of music like country, jazz music, etc. During my background research, I found out that mentally ill people and post-surgery patients work very well with music and to relieve pain. So I'd really like to work with mentally ill people or even people who have insomnia and to see the effect of music on them. In the end, I really enjoy seeing how different people react to different music. I also enjoyed researching about this topic and see how much music comes in our everyday life. Thank you so much.